Welcome to Technado with Don Pizzette, featuring sysadmin expert Don Pizzette, DevOps engineer Justin Dennison, security specialist Daniel Lowry, and Peter.
Hello and welcome to Technado. I'm your host, Peter Van Reinsdam, and we've got a great crew today. We've got the normal folks here in the office. We got Don, social distancing over there. Hi, Don.
I'm over here in my little corner all by myself.
Justin's over here. Justin, how's it going?
It's going well. Got the fan cranked up. Hopefully there's no sweat in this episode, but, only time will tell.
I need a fan today, yeah. And Daniel, how are you?
Also hoping that Justin does not have any sweat in this episode.
Yep.
But that's the nice thing about social distancing now. Yes. Justin is further away.
He's stewing in his own juice somewhere else.
Yeah. Rather than immediately next to me.
I am steeped in my own stank.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for this hoax. We're also joined today by a special guest, Megan Brewster. Megan, how you doing?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm great. And for those that don't know Megan, which is probably most of you, she's actually an employee here and the person responsible for getting all the great guests on Technado. But why are you here then, Megan?
Well, so I am here to talk about getting the guests and the process behind it. And
No, I meant because you didn't get a guest this week. That's why.
Yeah, well, no, there was one.
Nice attempt to cover up there.
He had an emergency.
See, there you go. When
Yeah.
we have an emergency, now our go-to plan is behind the scenes of Technado with Don Pizzette. So who knows? Next week it could be, well, there's only like 3 people.
Was his emergency not being on the Technado?
Yeah, that was it.
My
He was
emergency
like,
is I watched an episode.
Or maybe the emergency was it was Memorial Day yesterday.
Yeah, that could be it too.
He's got a
amazing.
hangover and the runs.
God, if you need till 4 o'clock, that's a good hangover.
If a hangover is all it took to miss the Technado, we'd never.
Yeah, why am I here? I didn't know.
It's got to be stacked with the runs, though. Is the key deciding point. If you're hungover, you come on. But you hungover and you got to runs. I can't handle a headache.
draw
bright
that line
lights, and-
somewhere.
That's why I always go to Taco Bell after drinking, just to make sure. All right, well, let's get to know Megan a little bit more and what she does in our first segment, Rapid Fire Questions.
Who do you work for?
What's new?
Who are you?
What's happening?
What's wrong with you?
Nailed it.
Nailed it. That was fantastic. All right, Megan, you have 1 minute or 45 seconds to a minute to answer each question. If you go over that time, Peter's going to buzz you. We're going to move on and act like nothing happened. All right, Peter, take us.
All right, Megan, what would you say it is you do here? And I asked that because I actually made Megan watch the movie Office Space. But if you could tell us specifically, how do you find guests for the show? How do you go about that process?
Well, so basically, there are a lot of different places that I'll find guests. First, sometimes people will recommend them in the building that work at ITProTV. Like if we go to a trade show, we're always on the lookout for people who are funny and know what tech topics they're talking about. And then also I've actually recently been turning to Twitter a lot because it seems like a lot of people on Twitter have really good personalities and know how to interact with people. But it's been a very good resource to find guests recently.
All right, Megan. Well, if you're reaching out to people on Twitter and kind of my ecosphere, do you really have to sell them on coming on the podcast, or do they just get excited, or is it like you got to hold their family hostage, or how's that work?
I've only had to hold one family hostage, so it's been going pretty well. But no, really, it doesn't take much selling. Initially, people don't always know about Technado. I know we'd like to think that everyone's a weekly viewer for years before coming on, but that's not always the case. But once they watch an episode, they're normally pretty excited about coming on.
All right. Now, I will say that, this is your first time kind of being on camera or being on the podcast with us, but you do play a very important role in that you arrange the guests for us, which we really appreciate. I don't think the podcast would quite be the same without you. That being said, I know you work in marketing, and I've worked with Peter long enough to know that pretty much straight up sucks. And so why are you in marketing? Like, what makes you want that for a career?
Well, so I really actually like it. I don't think it sucks, but I can see why you would think that working with Peter.
She's like, I like my job. I like my job.
But no, so I actually got started. ITProTV is in the building of a coffee shop that I used to manage, and so I kind of ended up in marketing. by accident at first. I worked at the coffee shop and just told everyone, hey, I'm looking for an internship. And then they were like, how about you do this? And then it worked out really well. And it's been great so far. Marketing's actually a lot of fun. I get to write puns and find guests for Technado, so it's pretty good.
So, Megan, we've had quite a few different interesting individuals on our podcast, and it's always been a good time. So you've done a good job there on hooking us up with great guests. But that does beg the question, what do you look for in a guest? What makes a good guest?
Well, so first what makes a good guest is that they're comfortable on camera, because not everyone is, and sometimes people can have a ton of technical knowledge, but not really be able to jump into the conversation and convey that on a podcast. But then another great thing to look for is if a company is doing something interesting or groundbreaking right now. Like, for example, I'm not sure if we'll be able to get them as a guest or not, but recently I heard about someone whose company was trying to get 3D printers to set themselves on fire with some sort of virus. And so something like that.
Yeah, we need that guest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully they'll be able to.
I don't need a virus to do that.
You have a problem with pyromania and virus writing?
Yeah.
Join us on Technado.
Exactly. And that's not always fire has to be involved, but
But yeah.
Until we get that guest, who's the guest you're most proud of getting so far up to this point?
we have had a ton of great guests, so really the real answer is everyone. But recently, one of the best guests that we had was Jeffrey Snover. He appeared a couple episodes ago. He's the creator of PowerShell, and he's just such an experienced person in tech that it was an honor to have him on here.
Yeah, he was great and a lot of fun. I like Graham Cluley. I think
He was great too.
Yeah.
history of
Yeah, and both of them were great to work with behind the scenes too, because I know people that are a little more successful, you never know exactly how they are going to act behind the scenes, but both of them were amazing people, both on and off the screen.
and the Darknet Diaries guy.
Yeah.
Jack Resider.
Yeah, and that's been it really. Everybody else.
We've had a string of CEOs and people like that. We've had some really
Remember
impressive
we had a while, Don, where everybody we had on, like it felt like 2 weeks later we saw a press release of that company getting funded.
Yep,
We're like,
getting
it's
acquired.
the Technado effect.
So everyone, come on Technado. You might
No, it
get-
hasn't been happening recently.
Oh,
As a matter of fact,
A lot
here's
of
an
SEC
article of all this companies getting raided.
Yeah, a lot of companies getting investigated. Yeah. So. Anyway, hey, we've got a brand new segment that we decided to unveil this week, and Megan's going to stick around and give us her insight on it. So this next segment is called Tinfoil Hat Time.
The moon landing was fake. Paul McCartney's been dead since 1966.
Dogs can't see color.
5G causes syphilis.
Do you understand that?
All right, so conspiracy theories, they're a lot of fun, and there's a lot of crazy ones that have been going around recently, so we figured let's just dive in.
Let's embrace it.
Yeah, going in head first. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of give you the rundown of this one a little bit. We found this one on Reddit, and then we'll try to unpack what we can. So basically, there's a person took a photo, and they said, "Why do you have a giant spoiler on your car if the max speed is capable of 70 miles per hour?" That's irrelevant. But they blurred out the person's license plate in front of them, which a lot of people do, and I understand that. But the first person commenting says, so I understand blocking out the license plate, but why your odometer? Because they actually also blurred out their odometer on their car, which seems odd. And the guy responded, to protect my car from being hacked. And then the other person says, okay, I'm curious how your car can get hacked by the mileage. Serious question, not trying to be a smartass. The person says, cars have antennas, okay, which send out 5G radio signals.
Oh, here
Yeah.
we
There's
go.
your first one.
And everybody
That's right there.
around gets syphilis.
Syphilis is it, yeah. Hackers use these signals to verify the odometer in your car and then backlog your IP address to your house to steal your personal info. I thought this was common sense.
And they also do it by writing a GUI at Visual Basic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know where to start with this. So your antenna is receiving signals, if I'm not correct, unless they're talking about like a cell phone antenna.
Let's start a little more basic
Go
than that,
back
right? There's
further?
5 of us here of various backgrounds. Had any of you heard this even rumored prior to this?
No.
no.
Okay, so this is like for this guy to say, "I thought that was common sense." That made me think like other people had heard this. Even the 5G antenna thing that's being propagated. I haven't seen this one being propagated, but it must be.
I mean, your antenna on your car is obviously for the radio. There are antennas on some cars that would be for a cell phone or something like that. But again, that's not. Those wouldn't be 5G because those are old.
I think most cars can do two-way now. I know my car, which is not fancy, is a Nissan Leaf, and it has I believe just a 3G cell modem in it because it does report back information so that I can do the remote start and all that mess.
Okay, well, this person is driving a Toyota. Does not look to be the newest Toyota from what I can see here. So I'm assuming they don't. But then, so let's get past that part and move on to hackers use the signals to verify the odometer on your car and then backlog your IP address. Now, Daniel, is backlog your IP address a term? Because that doesn't sound like a thing.
That does not sound right.
It's not ringing any bells for you.
No. Backlogging is when you have a queue that is supposed to move at a specific rate and is not. So they're continuing to queue up. You have a backlog of things. You don't backlog IP addresses.
So maybe he's meaning like to reverse engineer your IP address?
Maybe they're like, you know what, I've got all these IPs of these cars to get through, and man, how am I ever going to, like Justin's time.
So here's the thing. The whole time this person's worried about his odometer and his home IP to get... I'm worried about stopping at a stoplight and someone pulling a gun on me. That's what I'm... They're like, tell me what your odometer is. Is it 14828? I knew it. I got it from your IP. Get out of the car.
So your IP, that's the difference when they say a static IP versus dynamic. A dynamic is changing with your odometer.
Yeah, that must be.
Where static is fixed. That's why I always use a static IP.
I wish I had a static odometer.
Yeah, me too.
No miles in this car. And so then they're taking your IP address, which I wonder if they mean the IP address. Oh, he says the IP to your house. So somehow it's all linked.
Well, yeah, your
back
house
together.
has IP address, of course.
Yeah, the IP address for your house.
So this person lives in a bunker in their backyard.
You know, it's got to be someone's grandma who saw this on Facebook. My dad does this stuff all the time where he's like, did you know that such and such? And I'm like, Dad, that is not real. I don't know where you're reading it. He's like, I saw it on Facebook. I'm like, I wanted you to burn your Facebook things. Just, anything's got Facebook on. Don't uninstall it. I want you to set it on fire.
You need that virus
Yeah,
the
the
3D
3D
printer company.
Yeah.
There you go.
Trying to come up with.
That's why we want them on.
Are they for hire? Or?
We're all going to look asinine when it comes to find out Skynet started because of this. And this is how they've been tracking the human population.
Yeah.
And they're like, we've been backlogging IPs for years.
Gotcha.
So could you make your car, like, could you put a Faraday cage over your car and still think you have any visibility?
Well, yes, I think you can, right?
Still have visibility.
Like
Faraday cage is charged, you can still see through it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like visible light visibility? Is that what are you talking about, like electronic emission?
No, could you see to drive?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then you're
It wouldn't be great.
Yeah.
It would be obscured. I mean, don't drive through any school zone.
But you know what I've heard? If you can't see your odometer, then hackers can't either.
That's right.
If you're driving in a Faraday cage, I don't think you're allowed to be near schools anyway. Probably.
Yeah, I think this one stems from movies, right? Where this person obviously knows just a few terms like 5G and IP address and so on, and then they just assume because in the movies you can do anything that in real life you can do anything. And I think they're putting together disparate information here. This is absolutely ridiculous, but he thinks it's common sense.
Or they're trolls.
Oh,
And the entire purpose was to do exactly this. Is like
spin up a weird conversation.
Thank you, if that's your purpose.
Yeah.
And if you have any conspiracy theories, just send them in. Like put them in a comment, or drop them in an email, or you just think them because the CIA is listening and will tell us.
So I hope that this is a hoax, but I don't think it is. And the reason is it's a risky play here. Like they blurred out the odometer and posted this without mentioning the odometer at all, just like hoping somebody would notice it. Like that. A troll is normally going to be a little more direct.
It's either the best con or the worst.
Yeah. I wonder how long it took for this to work. Well, that was a lot of fun. I hope we do this segment more because
I will forewarn you. Sometimes I get a little amped up over conspiracy theories because it just makes me mad.
you get mad.
Stupid. Yeah.
Oh, then let's definitely do this segment more.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing more entertaining than Mad Justin. When
Well,
people started giving away things.
When you see me slightly agitated, it's entertaining. When you see me mad, they're like, he is breaking things. He is really
We might have to
upset.
call the police.
As
Yeah.
mad as Justin got when Microsoft gave Teams away at the beginning.
Ah, that was agitated.
Oh, that was just agitated.
That was agitated.
Okay, I like agitated Justin then.
Yeah, mad is like, we're going to have to tase him.
Yeah.
We're all in separate rooms right now, so now's a good time to do it.
Yeah. Lock the door in that room.
Lock that door. There's pins on the inside of this thing. I'm coming out. You ain't locking me in here.
You know, he's already thought that out. Like he didn't evaluate that door at a moment's notice. He already knew that.
Yeah.
Justin mad.
I got to have all these cognitive things in place so when I go full Hulk, I don't have to think about it.
Hey Megan, thank you for taking the time to come in today and social distance and give us a little bit of a look into what's going on. I like we have the current ventures for Megan segment. Megan, any
You can be at any trade shows? Do you have any new products coming out?
Keeping
Well,
your job, you know.
I am going to be hopefully keeping my job. No, we're not going to any trade shows right away. They're all pretty much moving online. But one thing I am going to be working on, as usual, is scheduling guests. So if you guys have anyone that you think would make a great Technado guest, let us know and I'll look into them.
Yeah, and get back to writing puns.
I don't know why, but I just thought of her peddling some strange product called Monkey Mace with random chimpanzees.
Why that?
I don't know.
Where
Yeah.
did that come from?
Daniel's mind is a strange thing.
I tell you what, if you've ever seen a chimpanzee attack, you'd know that monkey mace is a sellable product.
I am.
They will bite your fingers off and peel your face.
But
I
a
guess-
chimpanzee is not a monkey.
No, it's not. It's a higher primate.
I guess
But we use it interchangeably, so we're going to say monkey mace covers all those as well.
I'll look into starting that business then.
We're gonna give Daniel a chance to catch his breath.
Joking.
And we're going to take a quick break and come back with the news. But stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. And we'll see you in just a second on Technado with Don Pizzette.
This is Josh. Josh spent $2,500 on a week of classroom training for CompTIA A+ and got certified. Josh got a good job that pays $40,000 per year. This is Jeremy. Jeremy only spent $299 on a full year of training from ITProTV, including A+ and 300 other courses. Jeremy also got a great job that pays $40,000 per year. Jeremy used the more than $2,200 he saved on IT training for a fabulous tropical vacation. Now Jeremy is still using his ITProTV membership to study for Network Plus and Security Plus to advance his career, but not spending any more money, since all three are included in his ITProTV membership, plus 300 more courses. Don't be like Josh. Choose ITProTV for your IT training.
All right, welcome back to Technado with Don Pizzette. We've given Daniel a chance to calm down, but he could break
Thank you,
again
sir.
at any moment. But let's go ahead and jump into the news. We got a lot of great articles to get to. The first one today is from betanews.com. SD cards are about to get insanely fast. And so when we talk about speed with SD cards, that's like the 10 thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
the mysterious number that nobody really knows
Yeah,
what it
it's
means.
like did there used to be a 9? I don't remember. All I know is
Mine
that
says U3.
you have to get 10 is what I was always told.
I've heard U2, it was all right, but U3 has to be better.
Ah, jeez.
Yeah, SD cards, they're slow. They are slow. If you transfer data back and forth, if you are a photographer or somebody who uses a video camera that records them, you know the pain. But even transferring files to like the SD card in an Android phone can take a long time. So the industry that regulates SD cards is working on a new standard, SD8, which is, I guess, nicknamed SD Express. And the Express version of SD cards will actually leverage PCIe 4.0, which means it is theoretically possible of doing speeds up to 4 gigabytes a second. That puts it very, very close to the speeds of SSDs. Most SSDs in a computer on a PCIe bus are going to be at like 6 gigabytes per second. So this is pretty darn fast. It's not going to be in computers today. It's not, it'll probably be a year or two before this kind of washes out. PCIe 4 isn't in most computers yet. But we're going to see it in the next year or two that these SD cards that will be labeled with an EX will actually operate fast enough to be reasonable to work from.
So you're telling me I can go ahead and start printing Class 10 SD cards, putting a little sticker that says EX and go ahead and selling those on Amazon at an inflated price?
Triple the price at least.
Yeah, start that now.
Well, got to get that money.
So a lot of the comments on this article are talking about the heat. One of them saying you'd need a sub-zero freezer that you jump in when you want to use it. Would this generate a lot of heat because of the...
It can. You know, even a regular USB key gets pretty hot when you write to it. It's the reads are usually pretty cool, so it depends on what you're doing. If you're writing to it in your computer, I imagine it would generate some heat, but you get that with regular SSDs as well. You know, they all have temperature issues.
Yeah, but this is like 10 times faster.
Yeah, and it's
10 times hotter, right? By
and if you think it's in a little plastic case, it goes in a slot in the side of your computer or whatever, so it can breathe. I think it'd be fine. I do wonder if Apple will bring back the SD card slot though, like if
yeah, I miss that. I miss that a lot.
It's a nice feature. Now, if they do bring it back, you know it'll be like $6,000.
Yeah.
And that's just the wheels.
It'll be the SD like Apple or something. It'll be a specific form factor.
Thunderbolt.
iCard.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was it for a while. Like every single camera had its own type of card, and so
Yeah, what was the memory stick for Sony?
Memory stick?
Yeah, Sony Magic Gate.
Yeah.
Yep.
is Magic Gate the same as memory sticks?
Yeah, it originally was like Magic Gate was the name, and then they switched it to Memory Stick, or the other way around, because like one could be trademarked and one couldn't. I don't remember which was which. Yeah, but yeah, there were a couple of different standards that were out there, and they come and go as these things do. SD cards actually been pretty standard, and you see them in Raspberries and routers. All sorts of devices use them now.
So if I buy one of these when they come out, my Raspberry Pi will be 10 times faster.
Not unless they release a Raspberry with a full PCIe 4 bus, which, right now, I think the memory card, actually, Justin, you probably know better than me, isn't it on a USB 2 bus?
I think so. Maybe the 4s aren't, though. It might be USB 3.
Yeah, even a USB 3, you're not going to get those kind of speeds.
But I do need to go ahead and start counterfeiting those. I'm going to make that money.
You gotta get working.
I guess this is important, though, for... if you're recording 4K video or something, or even as it moves on to 8K and stuff, you're going to need something that can handle this type of speed.
Yeah, editing a video from an SD card today is really not realistic, right? You got to copy it to your computer and edit it that way.
Yeah.
But if you can get higher speeds like this, realistically, you could edit short videos right from the SD card.
Oh, that'd be nice for saving space on your drive. All right, well, let's head over now to our next article from VentureBeat.com. Microsoft debuts Windows Package Manager for your dev environment. Justin, is this something you were excited about?
Well, so I think Don posted, but I was pretty excited. I enjoy package managers from a developer standpoint, where I can just go blah, 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 install, boom, and then as long as there's a version upstream, I'm good to go. I don't have to go and compile and figure out how to do linking and all this stuff. Now, that's kind of why I lean toward Linux for my dev environment, but I've also used Homebrew. I think you use Homebrew also, Don, right?
Yeah, I always get on the fence on this stuff. So Microsoft Build is going on right now, the virtual conference this year, and this package manager was one of the announcements to come out of it. In the Linux world, if I need some software, if I want to install Sublime Text or whatever, I can either find it in the native repositories or I can go and add repos and pull the software down quick and easy with a simple command. You don't have that in Windows and Mac, right? On a Mac, they want you to go into the App Store. So if you want to have a quick package manager on a Mac, you have to install Homebrew, right? You can go to brew.sh and install it. But Homebrew is actually run by one guy, and you don't really know if those packages are being updated, if they're safe and secure. You're putting a lot of trust in a person that is a relative unknown, right? On the Windows platform, it's even worse because they didn't have a big accepted one. The closest you had was Chocolatey. And Chocolatey was the same kind of problem. You were putting a lot of trust in a third party to sit in between you and the software you wanted to get. So if I wanted to install Putty, I could go and get it directly from the Putty site, or I could trust whoever the maintainer of Chocolatey is to give me that package. So now Microsoft has an officially supported package manager called WinGet, or some people are saying Wingit, but it's WinGet is
Probably a play on NuGet, right?
That was another one.
Dependency manager for like Visual Studio packages or Windows-based programming environments or solutions.
So in this case, though, I installed it on my laptop, and I was able to do a winget install putty, and it installed just fine. Winget install Sublime Text installed just fine. Most of them had GUI installers that still popped up, so it didn't just like silently install the software. But seems to work really well, and being supported by Microsoft, I feel a little more comfortable with it because you actually have a corporate entity maintaining it, and they are open sourcing it, so it's fully visible on GitHub, and that means that hopefully people will be identifying any security weaknesses that it has.
And so this is fully out now. This isn't like a beta or something.
You have to download it. So it's not like a Windows feature you can activate. In a later version of Windows, it might become that. But right now, you go to the GitHub page and download the package.
Now, what's interesting is at the very bottom of this article, there's a little announcement here. Microsoft Power Toys, which neither Justin or I had heard of until like 2 weeks ago. Daniel, had you heard of it before?
Yeah, it came back from like Windows 95 days or something.
Okay, yeah.
But
They released
I never messed with them.
version 0.18, which is a weird. Yeah.
Well, that's because version 0.18 is the age of consent for applications.
Okay. All right. See what you did there. Yeah. So wait. So
I'm
it's been
telling
along
you,
for
they-
how long? And they're on version.
Stop saying how long.
Hey, I held it together when Don said packages like 100 times. So you can grow up.
But we're not talking about Power Toys.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my goodness. I don't.
Okay. So
They
yeah,
they
they're-
keep throwing down on this, don't they?
apparently they do.
I'm afraid to type that into a search engine. like I'm going to type Microsoft Power Toys, and then Nate's going to get an email that Justin's looking at something weird on the network.
Well, what is this? Well, it's got an embedded version of Windows in it, so.
Power Toys 18.
Yeah.
That's a weird cursor. Nothing. No, don't look at anything.
All right.
So what are Power Toys again? I keep asking.
No one
I keep
knows.
So
forgetting.
it's a collection of utilities, and this one includes. You might remember from a couple of episodes ago, we talked about how on a Mac you got the Spotlight. You hit Command Space, and you can quick search for apps. So they have that equivalent now inside of Windows, which is part of Power Toys version 18.
And a keyboard remapper.
Yeah, not
Remapping
quite
it
sure
to
who was
what?
asking for that.
Remapping it to like different layouts?
I don't know. It just says Power Toys Run and a keyboard remapper are two of the new utilities added. The former is an app for launcher utility. The latter lets you customize keyboard inputs to key and shortcut to shortcut.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I guess that would be one of those things where could you not before do the Windows key to control so that like if you're switching between a Mac and a Windows,
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah.
you didn't necessarily have to go, oh, wait a minute, is it control? I've also heard of people mapping their caps locks to shift, to the left shift. And they're like,
you
who
never
uses
touch
caps
that,
locks?
yeah.
Well, I wonder if if you're running a virtual machine too, and you're switching back and forth between Mac OS and.
Apple's Boot Camp software used to do that. That they don't do it anymore, but it used to be an option where it would map that, so you could do Command C or Windows key C. Yeah.
Well, these Power Toys are really taking off. I like it.
I tell you what, for the note, we'll be overrun with Power Toys.
Yeah, we're gonna keep an eye on Power Toys. I'll tell you
Yeah,
what.
they'll be falling from the sky.
Continue to do some research. I don't know if this next one is from Build as well, but this is from techcommunity.microsoft.com. That's Microsoft's Microsoft 365 blog, announcing Microsoft Lists, your smart information tracking app in Windows 365. Whenever Microsoft says something smart, I don't know, like Cortana, the way it suggests documents that we want to see within meeting invites has never worked for
Is
the
this
Technado
just,
team.
didn't they purchase Wunderlist or something like that?
They did,
They-
yeah. That got rolled into their to-do app. They just shut that down. May 6th, I think, was the last day. Wunderlist is now dead.
But is this now like a reincarnation of like parts of that?
So this isn't, and I've got a bit of a confession to make here, guys. So I'm the one who posted this article. This was a big deal. Microsoft made a big deal out of this at Build as one of the larger launch things. So it's called Microsoft Lists. It is not replacing To-Do, which is what Wunderlist went into. It's not replacing the card-based list that you already have in Teams. It's not replacing the SharePoint list that you can build. This is an all-new kind of list, and I will tell you guys,
do, Don?
I have read this article from top to bottom 3 times, and I still
Thank
don't
you.
understand what this
I
thing
watched the
adds.
video. I'm thinking, okay, I'm just missing something here. I'll watch the video and the visuals will explain it. And I was more confused. I was like, what the hell does this thing do?
That's how groundbreaking it is. These new types of lists are going to blow your face
You
off.
can't even wrap your mind around how awesome
You're going
it
to
is.
see this list and you're going to spray yourself with monkey mace. Just go, oh, I can't help myself.
Now you guys know how I feel reading every article that is posted.
So let's just take a quick vote here. There's 4 of us here, and we're all fairly techie people. And I know, Peter, we tease you about being in marketing, but you deal with tech stuff all the time. Raise your hand. Well, I guess we should. Well, for people who are listening, whatever. Raise your hand.
Scream like a maced monkey.
If you understand, if you understand what this product does, because I just don't. It doesn't make any damn sense.
No.
So I have trouble navigating all the current solutions for making lists and keeping track of lists in Microsoft, which you highlighted several, because there's Project, which is you can set up
I totally
Kanban
left off
boards, which you
Project.
can have lists inside of lists, and then those can have lists in them.
What about Planner?
And then,
It's like Exhibit. I heard your list like lists.
yeah. And then you got To Do, which you can make your own personal list, but then you can also do those inside of, I don't know.
You understand I just keep everything I need to do in a text file, right? It's like,
I use Vim and Markdown.
My favorite was the part where it says, "Oh, you can do this directly from within Teams." And I'm like, "Well, I can already do it directly in
Right.
Teams. 'Cause you can make lists in
what
Teams."
the hell does this thing do?
So this is a big deal for you listeners out there. Microsoft is very proud of this accomplishment of launching a product that, frankly, I'm not really sure what it does.
This is going to be another one of those things where we give it all kinds of hell, and then it's going to
Change the world.
It's going to change how the global economics behaves.
The iPad. Who wants a computer that doesn't have a keyboard?
Well, keep this episode in the archive and
Yeah,
refer
yeah.
back to it in the future, because I think this is like, Google did this where they launched Google Duo and then Allo and Meets. They had like 5 different messaging apps at one point. That's how Microsoft is with lists.
Not MEATS.
Does anyone know what Google Wave did?
What the hell are you talking?
So Google Wave was supposed to be what Slack became. And the problem with Google Wave, it wasn't that it didn't work. It was that they did this limited release beta thing. And so, like, if you got a beta invite, I got a beta invite early and got in there, but no one that I worked with had a beta invite. So you
couldn't
just
really do it.
You gave me a communication platform, but didn't let me communicate to anybody.
And then someone was like, I already got email, so what do I need this for?
yeah.
'Cause I remember hearing, Wave's going to be the big thing, and then I'm like, what do you do?
It was supposed to replace email, much like we use Teams and Slack now. That instead of
is that what
emailing
that's
somebody,
for?
I'll shoot them that.
All right. Next, over at slashgear.com, more Microsoft news. Microsoft says massive PC hacking campaign used COVID-19 and Excel files. So another thing, just preying on people during a pandemic and fear. So Excel files. So did this have something to do with macros again? I'm always so scared about macros.
It does, although I was surprised to see that they're Excel 4.0 macros, which is pretty ancient.
Yeah.
Didn't the article say that it had literally hundreds of infections or something?
Tens of infections.
I thought it had crossed
Was it
100,000.
1,000? Oh, I thought it
This
said
calls about
1,000.
5G.
Yeah, I think it's crossed 100,000 at this point.
Okay.
But basically, it's an email that's saying, it's from a nonprofit, the USA Humanitarian Squad, and they're saying that they're offering free COVID-19 testing for everybody. And all you have
Spit
to
on
do-
your monitor and just...
All you have to do is fill out this little form in a spreadsheet and send it back, and they'll send you a free testing kit. And, right now, people are worried, people are scared, and they fall victim to these a little more easily than normal. It has all the markings of a fake email. There's bad grammar in there and stuff like that. You should be able to spot it. But, the most endangered group with COVID-19 are the elderly, and those are typically the less technically savvy. So they fall for this pretty heavily.
Because they use broken English, too, a lot.
Real quick,
Is that not one?
can anybody tell me a legitimate organization that has the word squad in it?
Suicide Squad? It's a movie.
That's all you got.
How about the
Get out of that.
component that makes up every platoon in the U.S. Army?
Squad.
Oh yeah.
Are those...
That's about as legit as you
got
got
a beef with them, too,
I'm,
Justin?
I'm asking because I'm
Police
like,
Squad? Wasn't it a police squad?
That was a TV show, right?
Yeah.
But if I ever see an email from someone that says squad, I would go,
He's like, I don't trust you already.
I don't know, because am I getting a bunch of emails from military components or
Taylor
I
Swift's
do.
fan club?
Taylor Swift's fan?
Are they called a squad?
I don't know.
Oh,
Squad goals.
Who's Taylor
I think
Swift?
yeah, right. Because isn't that why they call the four
Horsemen?
female congresswomen? I guess if they're congresswomen, they'd be female. Shoot, I can't remember all the names now.
AOC and
Like Omar. And,
Yeah.
Omar, yeah.
I can't remember them all, but yeah,
Call them the
Those other-
squad.
they do.
There's
They
the
do.
other one, the
Yeah.
tall one.
And the
These
the
are-
tall
these
one.
are-
The one with
these
the
are
teeth.
all things that I would be suspect if I received an email from any of these things.
Like, why are 4 women in Congress?
Like, I just
sending me
received an
email?
email from 4 women in Congress. I just received an
All right,
email
yeah.
from a movie that was horrible.
that tracks. All right, that's legit.
So anyway, just be extra careful. Don't open things,
From
and no one's
squad.
giving you anything for free.
Yeah.
You know, I stay secure just by not using
Well-
any electronic communications.
Yeah, I'm
We'll
on
have to
Wave.
walk that no one gives you anything for free thing because most cities and counties do actually have free COVID-19 testing at this point. So just ignore the email and contact
go
your
get
local
it,
government directly. Yep.
But,
It's not free. They get off on sticking that thing way up your nose.
whoa. I was like, I think you got tested wrong, but you recovered there at the end.
I didn't say what. Was, never mind.
Yeah, you're like, sticking that thing way off. Oh.
Wait, they used a swab for you?
But here's where they get you, Don. While you're getting tested, they check out your odometer, backlog your IP.
Yeah. They're like,
got
look
that.
back, take your head back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why they have the drive-up testing, so they can see your
exactly.
odometer. I didn't even put that
Yeah.
together.
And then if worse comes to worse, they just pull you at gunpoint.
And you drive,
Take your
yeah,
car.
you
And they
drive
pick
right
the-
through a 5G too.
They pick the location. It's probably near a 5G antenna.
Yeah, and you get syphilis when you drive by.
Wow, we're going to
Yeah.
walk back that whole segment.
Yeah.
yeah. Oops. Yeah, we're gonna save this episode for a couple reasons.
Turns out that dude was right.
Look how dumb these guys are. No, not about the power tools thing. Power toys or whatever. What were we mad about? No.
Power toys.
Yeah, it was power toys. Okay.
You said power tools.
Yeah, I did. Because that's a real thing.
Yeah, those are legitimate things.
Yeah, because I have those.
I have those.
All right, our next article is from bleepingcomputer.com. eBay port scans visitors' computers for remote access programs. So when you visit ebay.com now, they're actually running a script and checking you out?
So if you are on a Windows machine and you go to the eBay website, there is a JavaScript routine that runs in your browser that actually performs a local port scan to test if, I forget how many, 14 different ports are open on your system. And this is all done in the background, so as a user, you don't even experience it. Apparently, it does not happen on a Mac or on a Linux machine, so it's limited just to Windows, and it is a little bit of a deviation kind of from what we've seen in other websites that you go to the site and it runs a port scan. I don't think that's really been seen before.
So what are they scanning for?
It's mostly remote administration tools. So they check things like port 3389, which is what Windows Remote Desktop Protocol runs on. They do port 5900, which is VNC, and a handful of others that are tied to TeamViewer and things. And the theory is that they're checking to see if a machine has been hacked into. If an attacker has remote control to it, they might be doing purchases and things through it that are fraudulent. So when you go to the eBay website, they're checking to see if that's open. But like, I have VNC on my computer at home, and I'll go to eBay, so it doesn't.
Yeah, it's
flag
not
me.
like blocking you.
Yeah, that
if
was what I was wondering. Is are they alerting to people at all if they do find the port to be open, saying, "Hey, you might have some sort of malicious activity going on here"? I mean, great, they're port scanning. Everybody's getting port scanned right now.
Yeah, maybe it's just part of due diligence, so they can go back and say, you know, hey, we've tracked these or found patterns, or you know, maybe they're building up something they can, you know, reference AI against. Oh, look, it's Jack Rysider who brought this to their attention originally.
Yeah.
Our
So
friend.
eBay did finally come back out and make a statement, and basically they said they're just looking for machines that may have been compromised, and you know, this is a quick test they use to, I guess, kind of like gauge the reputation of the computer that's connecting. So they've had tons and tons of fraudulent activity going on eBay, and this is one thing they're doing to stop it. One of the security researchers, a gentleman named Dan Nemec, had dug into it a little bit, and he believes it's tied to a product from LexisNexis called Threat Metrics. and it's a way of evaluating a machine to see whether or not it is compromised. So they're probably just trying to stop transactions from fraudulent machines before they occur, which is interesting. But it does create a little bit of a debate. Like when you go to a website, it may be stashed away in their terms of use or whatever, but should they be allowed to port scan your machine? Should they be allowed to scan the files on your hard drive and things like that? You know, what's the level of access you should be granting a website?
Well, I'm wondering though, maybe because like you said, Don, you've done this before, and it doesn't block you. So maybe they know that you're compromised then, and they're going to feed you higher priced items. So you're going to buy anyway at that point. So why not get the big bucks?
That used to happen. It was several websites. I think Amazon even did it, where if you were on a Apple device, you would get higher prices than if you were on an Android device, because they found that Apple users were more willing to spend more money.
And at one point, you could not make purchases through Apple device except through.
In the apps.
So you couldn't use the app. You actually had to use the Safari browser. So this kind of reminds me of I was using Ticketmaster. This horrible website. But I had it open.
Sponsored by Ticketmaster.
What were you buying?
Brought to
tickets
you
You're
by
not
our
supposed to go
sponsor,
places.
Ticketmaster.
Not supposed to go
if you need
places
to buy
with people.
tickets to a bunch of monkeys getting maced. So I opened up another website, and immediately Ticketmaster banned me. They were like, "You're a bot." I was like, "No, I'm not." They're like, "Yeah, you are. You were comparing prices." So it always made me wonder, what were they doing?
Comparison shopping. You must be a robot.
So their argument was people will have bots crawl and do a bunch of price comparisons and then do rapid purchases for low price things and try to resell. I was like, I was on the same page for 40 seconds. I was not. I was going, "Oh,
What bot are you looking at?
is that a 4 or a 7? Oh, I got banned." Oh,
This happens in real life too. I had my phone out at Walmart. I was on Amazon looking up the price of a product that was there, and the Walmart employee just slapped the phone right out of my hand.
Yeah.
I remember Best Buy got sued over that, where
Slapping phones out of people's hands?
no,
Like a Wi-Fi blocker.
If you were trying to price match, right, you would have to pull up a web page to show a price, and when you were on their Wi-Fi, they would feed you modified copies of Walmart's webpage and
nice.
Target's webpage, so it had static pricing. And they said they were doing it because they wanted to eliminate sale prices. But the judge said, no, that's pretty fraudulent. Now, the part I was curious about this is that most web browsers, most modern web browsers, sandbox the web pages, right? So that one web page can't access the content of another web page. So how is it that we can sandbox a web page, but it's still able to port scan the machine? Seems like that would be a pretty big escape.
So I think Fetch, the HTTP parts, you get some cross-origin capabilities as long as it's going back to localhost. So I'm wondering if it looked like they were using something like that from the article.
Yeah, because all the screenshots had localhost.
Yeah,
requests.
127.0.0.1, and then the port. So I'm wondering if maybe their port scan, they're just firing off a bunch of web requests to your local host. Actually, we can go back to my desk here shortly and try it.
We will.
Yeah.
We will.
Yeah. We got a lot of things to do. We got a commercial to shoot. Got some port scanning to see if we can do it.
Busy afternoon.
Yep.
Yep. We'll have to turn off our transparent web proxy that's on your machine. That way.
That way I could finally look up power toys.
If I'm shaking my head like I know what that meant. Yeah, do that. Hey, want to let you know about something coming up. We've got a webinar that is a career in IT right for you? 10 qualities of successful IT pro, and that is with Don. That'll be next Thursday, June 4th, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Don, have you prepared that one yet? Do you know what you're going to talk about?
So I have 10 points,
10.
And I've looked over them and formulated things in my head. I haven't gotten my graphics ready yet. I have to work on that.
Don, is this just going to be based off people you've worked with that you went, why do you do this for a living?
IT is not right for that person.
Is an IT? Yeah, is a career right for you? I'm going to show you 10 people who it's not.
Wait a minute, I
They
think
used
I'm
to work
hosting
here.
that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm featured too. Don asked me to come by and save. So I'll be doing that. If you head over to ITProTV/webinars, you can sign up for that one. Also see all of the past on-demand webinars. The one we just did, succeeding with the new Cisco certifications. That was awesome. We had tons and tons of questions, went to overtime and spent another 20 minutes afterwards answering questions. So definitely check that one out. That actually was just posted up today where you can go and see the archive. ITPro.TV/webinars. And then head over to go.ITPro.TV/Technado. You can get a 30% off coupon code there for the lifetime of your personal account. You can also get a 7-day free trial. You can request a demo for your team, see the Pro Portal and all the cool things that are available for teams. That's over at go.ITPro.TV/Technado. All right, well, thank you to Megan for joining us today, and thank you guys for... Oh, that's fun, especially the conspiracy theories segment. I enjoyed that, and I hope we can do that again.
Yep, but now we got to wrap it up because Daniel says we need to watch this Benny Hinn, Dark Lord of the Sith video.
When monkeys attack,
What was that
and they
video?
will.
There's another video we're supposed to watch, too, that you said, Dom.
I say a lot of things.
Yeah. Whatever you said made Daniel suggest that video, so we'll
No,
go
I
check
said
that out.
I said
you did.
the COVID-19 Kenneth Copeland like a remix. Of
Right.
The remix.
Yeah, so check those out. I'm sure those will be suggested videos now after this on YouTube because, that's how YouTube scans this and takes our words and
Matches it to our odometer.
Yep.
Yeah.
gives you syphilis.
5G.
Yep. Anyway, I got to go get a Z-Pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should take care of it.
You
All
know
right.
that's just frozen gonorrhea.
Tastes horrible.
All right, thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you next week right here on Technado with Tom Bissett.